It's been about 6 days since the pour. We've tried to keep it wet, but nothing fancy. This composite grade board has a groove in it, and that groove accepts the next grade board. We're gonna actually stack 2 of them here. But there's a lot of concrete overflow in this grade board. So what we're gonna do is go around, chip out all the overflow concrete, tidy things up a bit. Once that's done, we'll move on to the first stage of framing. We've decided to do the sill plate. The sill plate will go on the concrete between every post. We'll be doing a sill gasket and some caulking detail to make that exceptionally waterproof and airtight. But before we just start slapping sill plates down, we're gonna mark out our wall. And we'll do that with a laser and a string line. We've got some wiggle on these brackets, certainly in one direction and a little bit in the other. So we just don't want to start throwing posts up in them willy-nilly. We want to make sure it's exactly on our wall line so that everything is straight, square, and true. So it looks like the edge is cleared up. That was a lot of scraping, but it seemed to go pretty well. Next step, I guess, is to clean it up, vacuum up the mess, and prepare for sill plate. Nice. That cleaned up pretty well. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to be able to caulk and install the next grade board in the stack. I've talked about this detail a lot, and I'm really kind of proud of it. I think it turned out exceptionally well. So this is where the garage door is going to go, right over the 2 inches of foam here. It's recessed about a ½ an inch. I'm going to caulk it pretty excessively and install a rubber gasket. Unfortunately, the apron doesn't have a relief cut in it yet, so I don't want to caulk it quite now, but I will install the neoprene rubber. So this is it. 1/2 inch 60A neoprene, 2 inches wide and 10 feet long. So that's just dry fit and the ends aren't cut. But already I think it looks quite nice. Once we caulk the crap out of it and put it in there permanently, that should protect the foam and provide a nice water and air seal with the door. At least that's the plan. I was fighting with the form here, trying to get it out. This is for the boiler, and we need that space in there, but there was a wood form, 2x6, blocking everything. So I cut and pounded and crowbarred and eventually got it out. It looks really quite nice. Nice sunny day in northern Michigan. Robert and I went by today and we measured out the locations for the walls, confirming that our brackets are in pretty good shape, which we kind of knew, but it's nice to confirm it now that we got the concrete in. We snapped chalk lines for our walls all the way around the main building. After I cut, I'm going to be coating the freshly cut ends in this copper coat. It's basically a preservative that will help protect the untreated end. I'm gonna put a little bit in this guy and just kind of dip it in there and then stage them. So it'll sit in there for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, 4 minutes, and then I'll swap to the next one. So that should be more than enough. Everything here for the main building is cut. I haven't done the small cuts around penetrations. And for the door openings, I basically created something that's a little longer. We don't know exactly where the door is going to go until we get to framing. So we can cut these off to the exact dimensions at a later time. Here's the sill plate. We're going to be stapling on sill gasket to the bottom of it. Between the sill gasket and the board on one side, we'll be caulking, and between the sill gasket and the concrete on the other side, we'll be caulking. We're using a polyurethane caulk for this. This is a flexible caulk, so as the concrete and wood expands and contracts, this caulk won't crack, it'll kind of go along with it. The concrete around the edge is tapered. If you remember, we have foam under here at a 45-degree angle. So this is very fragile. I mean, you can crack the concrete with your fingers. But by the time you get here, you have full 4 inches of depth. For that reason, we will be drilling and screwing on the building side. we installed approximately half the sill plates for the main building. It's gone together pretty well. Learned one big lesson. Polyurethane caulk is very sticky and impossible to clean. It gets everywhere, so that kind of stinks. That is not round. I screwed it up pretty good, but you know, caulk fixes everything, right? We set the camera down for a bit and just got to work. I was able to finish up all the sill plates on the office area. They went together very well. I took some time to caulk around the black brackets, sealing up all the corners of the boards and making sure everything was perfectly airtight. We removed the fake wall here and carefully set the manifolds down on some XPS foam. Getting that wall off is important. We're going to be raising real walls and we can't be fighting with a fake wall in the way. Our contractor stopped by and put the final relief cuts in the covered porch and in the apron. Finally, we mounted the threshold trim here, which is that 1/2-inch neoprene rubber, grade 60A, which is pretty strong. We caulked it in with a polyurethane caulk specifically for flashing and roof detail, and I think that'll hold up fairly well in this location. And finally, we swept because, you know, it looks a lot nicer when it's clean. Granted, it's not covered and the trees are gonna drop a lot of crap on it in no time, but it looks good for right now, so we're gonna stick with that and be happy with that.